Hey friends, thanks for jumping in on the Northwest Youth Podcast, where we're believing that the voices and experiences right here from the Pacific Northwest will equip our youth ministers and youth ministries to reach students and bring the hope of Jesus to our communities. Hey friends, today we welcome Pastor Matt Harder from New Life Renton, where he serves as the next-gen pastor there, serving from middle school all the way through young adults, and leading a team of pastors across all the campuses. And Matt, tell us a little bit about you, your family, and the role that you serve in.
Yeah. So I'm married. Kaylee's my wife, and we got 3 kids, Kingston and Kinley. They're twins. And then we have our little baby Evelyn. She's just over a year. And I've been serving at New Life now for just over 10 years, and was janitor, was youth director, youth pastor, unpaid, paid youth pastor.
There you go.
So just kind of done it all there. And man, I just love the local church. I also am a part of Lead Local. So we go all over the U.S. uniting local pastors together, really to reach their communities together. And so we really believe that the best way to reach our world is a united church and one that loves their neighbor as themselves. And so that's what we do. And man, I just love Renton. I love our church. And so I hope I can still keep doing youth ministry for another 10 years, because it's really, I believe the next gen ministry is the hope of the world, because the church is the hope of the world. And this is really who's going to be leading the church in just the next few years and who's really leading now. So, yeah. I
love how God has really given you kind of that platform right now to bring people together. You've done it here locally for a long time, and now he's kind of expanding that, and I love the impact it's having in youth ministries across our country, really, as we see, we get to kind of experience that a lot here in the Northwest. We champion a lot of collaboration and coming together, and that's not the case everywhere. And so I love that God has opened those doors for you.
And I love that we've been doing that for a while now. Just as
we don't want to tell people how long.
Being
local
tell us how
old we are.
Yeah. We won't say. But.
Fun fact, though, man. I just took our youngest daughter to Missoula to look at the University of Montana.
Yep.
We drove through Kingston, Idaho.
That's crazy, dude. Yeah, that's, my son's named after Kingston, Idaho. And then my grandma lives in Hamilton, which is only 30 minutes from Missoula. So there you go.
Oh, my goodness.
Just surrounded by family right there.
We had the Harder clan just stalking us.
I love it. That's
so
great.
Good. Well, hey, today we're talking about casting vision in ministry. We've all been there, where we have a dream on our heart, where we know God has placed something on our heart. Sometimes there's a process by which we have to just go through to discover that and kind of flesh that out. But what does it look like to cast ministry vision? I know this is something I appreciate in you, is like you dream big, right? And you don't mind, and sometimes the budget gets blown.
Yeah, maybe it does.
From time to time. I think that's one of the areas that obviously you've grown in.
Always call your lead pastor before you blow the budget. Let him know beforehand that you are.
Soften the blow.
Then you but before you do it.
Right.
So then get that extra budget beforehand. That's what I've learned.
Okay. That's the key. So make sure if you take anything away.
Hey, we're gonna go over by 10,000. Can we just get 10,000 more?
Right. Then we won't be over.
Yeah. There you go.
I love that's great planning and vision. Yeah. So, but no, I love. Let's have this conversation, because for some of us, it's daunting, right? Because we can see it in our mind, and we also don't want to fall short of kind of what's in our heart and our mind.
Yeah.
And so, what is the process that you go through? Some practical, tangible things that you go through when you know you've got something on your heart and mind. What are your steps that you filter that through?
Yeah, and it really can be daunting when we want to share vision with people. And I think the greatest way, to not make it so daunting, because in my experience right now, what I'm dealing with is that we not only have youth at Renton, we are multi-site.
Sure.
And so really, how do you cast vision to multiple youth pastors who God has put in a calling and a purpose and a mission in their own hearts, in their own local communities? And so we've really had to learn, to simplify vision. So really to simplify vision when you're casting it, really is decide what really needs to be worth putting out in a vision that we all get behind. And if you're not on multi-site, that's with your volunteer leaders. If you're a volunteer leader, that's your small group, because there's a vision, and the vision's gotten to you, and your pastor or your church leader has asked you now to continue to cast that vision down. And so for that to happen all the way to everyone, it needs to be worth casting.
Okay.
So to cast your vision is to simplify it, and to simplify it is to really go, what is the burden in my heart? Because you got to start with the burden. We always talk about the why, and that's really true, because really with vision, Scripture tells us that there is nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
So I think we spend a lot of the time of how is this vision going to look, and not enough time of why is this vision important for people to get behind.
Gotcha.
So we start in an innovation we spend so much time wanting to innovate that we don't implement. We spend so much time looking at what other ministries are doing. Well, how can I really apply it? No, what is God saying to you? It's got to be a burden. Then how do you simplify that burden? Mm-hmm. Because your vision is not your mission statement. Because I think a lot of the times we make that mistake. Well, here's the vision, guys. It's leading students into becoming fully devoted followers of Jesus.
And
right?
I posted it on Facebook.
Yeah,
so
it's
we're
on
good.
Facebook, and everyone knows it. And our leaders could actually quote that. But how then? Our vision is then to nothing new under the sun. It's to implement basics of our Christian faith as pastors. Really, at the end of the day, the why, our burden is, how do we really help students become more fully devoted followers of Christ? It's not saying it. How do we do it? You've got to get the why of that burden, and it's got to bleed, and so you got to simplify it. So, like my wife right now, she's casted the vision. Kaylee's casted the vision into our marriage that we were going to be a Christmas house.
And that's good and right.
That's great. It's right. And we were going to create it, and I got it. And she gave it to me right away. What happened was for year one, the vision was, let's be a Christmas house. And in my mind, I thought that means, how much money is this going to be? Christmas house. I want a Christmas train, all these different things. You're thinking Christmas house. Kaylee had to simplify the vision, not where she was going to go, that, we will be a Christmas house, but simplify the vision to what does it look like this year? Each year we're going to buy one thing to then someday we will be the Christmas house.
Okay.
And so, but for me to get behind it as her sharing that with me, she had to simplify the vision for me and not get lost in all the details of it.
Okay.
First, just get the Christmas lights on the house. And so as a visionary, we need to simplify it for people.
Yep.
And that's the why, because we all get in the rut. The reason why your youth ministry needs vision right now is not because it's going to be something brand new that's never been done.
Yep.
It's because you've gotten in the rut of how you implement the Bible in kids' lives, how you're building community of discipleship, how you're doing evangelism. There's these core things. We all know them. The vision is not to do something new. It's to do something fresh that you've been doing. Is really my philosophy. And so you got to simplify that and go, not the vision isn't let's have 1,000 kids at this event. Our vision is let's have 1,000 kids at this event so that it'll be a connection event to doing our overall vision to baptizing 100 students in 52 weeks or one school year, really.
Sure.
And so vision of baptizing 100 students, that seems really crazy, all that, but simplify it. There's 100. And then as you go, you're going to add to it in seasons. And how are we doing this? And you're sharing with your church family how that's going to happen.
But the simplification there is so crucial because, like you said, it's easy to get lost.
Yeah.
Right? And the vision's the picture, where we're going.
Yep.
Right? And every leader knows, like, rule number one is you got to know where you're going.
Yes.
So let's talk about that just for a brief second.
Yeah.
How do you discern where you're going? How do you simplify it? Do you bring people in and process it with a group? Yeah. Do you ever heard anybody say that vision's crazy and not from God? Mm-hmm. What's your process?
Yeah, and so the process is to bring a core of people around you, and there's 3 different personalities that I bring around me when I want to, because it has to start with you though as a leader. That's what I think happens. We go, collaboration. Well, the vision has to start with you, and so you do have to believe in something that you're presenting to somebody.
Yes.
So you just got to understand, yes, you're going to cast your vision and even give me some ideas to a big group of people. That's going to go to, but who are the core that are helping develop that, right? And so I've identified 3 different personalities within our team, and then as I meet new people that come into the team, that's like identifiers. These are people that identify a problem. So to cast your vision, you have to first understand, here's non-negotiable. There are 8 things that we've identified as next gen that if we do these 8 things really, really well, the youth ministry is going to continue to disciple more students and we're going to reach more students if we do these 8 things well. So if someone's coming to me with a vision, if it doesn't go through these 8 things, then we're not going to do it as part of how we're actually going to implement the whole mission, right? And now if I have a vision, then we all know if it's going to be underneath one of these things, and I have to present to this core, here's why. I've learned that identifiers I used to push away. These are people like parents, administrators, detailed people. They're identifying a problem. As a leader, I always say, if you're a leader, don't identify problems, you always bring solutions. I actually don't think that's fully true. You've got to learn on a team to be someone who actually has enough change in your pocket that you've earned credibility through adding so much value that now you can bring something up and make sure it's around those 8 things. So if someone's coming to me an identifier and it's under those 8 things, I listen. Yeah. And so they're identifying certain things. These identifiers are probably small group leaders, people that are in there all the time, nonstop. And the identifiers, it doesn't mean you're necessarily going to do it. You're going to hear the why and the burden, and you're going to implement that into the overall burden. It starts shaping what we're doing. So we're always casting vision around these 8 things to implement the overall vision. And so identifiers, we have influencers, and then we have innovators. Sure. So the innovators, I have a couple voices that actually push me. How does this look? Here's the scripture I want to do for the series. Here's the vision for the series. Now they're going, no, let's actually help you show it the vision. Here's how we can best show it. Innovators. Then you've got influencers. If I can get these 10 influencers pumped, they're giving and stealing, then everyone else is going to be okay.
They're going to jump in on board.
Yeah.
No, that's so good. I think it's so crucial to have that filter.
Yeah.
Right. To where you can, because if you don't have those 8 things for you, and it might not, for some youth ministries, it might be 4.
Yeah.
It might be 5 or 6, whatever those things are that define how you've chosen to disciple
your
students
values
and the values that you have. Because it's so easy in youth ministry to just want to chase after the next big thing.
Yeah.
Right. To create the next big thing. And then we can even ask the question, why are we even doing this?
Yeah.
If we lack that filter. So that's the discernment piece.
Yeah.
And you kind of shared like with the influencers
there. Yeah. And then you got to say it over and over again, because like my kids, Kingston and Kinley, they're now saw what I just set up with the lights. And then I've got 2 more people, and they're going, Dad, this isn't the Christmas house like you've said. Oh. So you got to say the vision over and over again. Hey son, every year we add 1 new Christmas thing. So every year, and then it will be, you're going to see this. And with people, you're going to go through messes as you're doing your vision. It's not going to work out how you thought it was initially on how you're connecting or doing those anchors, but that's why you have to say it over and over and over and over again, because I forget it. Ask what I preached last week. Wouldn't be able to tell you. But if you say something that really matters, because if it matters, you're going to say it over and over again, it will then go into your DNA. And so you got to continue to say it. Write the vision, Scripture tells us, on the tablet. That means that doesn't have a lot of room.
Right.
So if you're telling me a vision and I'm lost because you've been talking for 5-10 minutes, you've lost me.
Yeah.
And then after you say it, really then share that vision. That's how people catch the vision, and how you implement is you share that vision through conversation, but also through service. So you share through service who's going to do what for this event that's then going to connect kids to getting baptized.
Yeah.
So who's going to do that? You share that service. So like for me, when I'm putting up Christmas lights on my house, my kids are up there and they're sharing in it.
Yep.
And you know what they're saying when they're sharing it? There are those moments to go, Dad, this isn't exactly precisely lined up. And when people are in the trenches with you, they're going to continue to say little things here, and you got to let them back up, because I said, Kingston, when we get off onto the road there, you're going to be so far back that you're not going to notice that these are just a couple centimeters and inches off. And sure enough, you go far enough back, and that vision is complete, and people stuck with you through it, and they see it. Then you get credibility, by the way, when you do speak vision and it happens. They've shared in that service, and you're able to remind them, like, I know it's a little messy, but you're sharing in this mess, and we're doing the best we can. And as you step back, it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Well, and that sharing creates ownership.
Yeah.
Right? It's no longer Matt's vision.
Yep.
It's not Matt. It's a whole Harder family vision.
Yeah, it's all of us together building the Christmas house.
Vision. Yeah.
And for what? So because our neighbors are doing it, and we're having conversations, and we're all connecting the neighborhood together, and really, truly.
And because Christmas illumination counts.
There you go, 100%.
Let's just be honest.
Yeah, we're making memories with the family. And
That's
so
good.
The value has to be there. And when you share the service, then at the same time when you're sharing vision, share the stories. So then you got to share the service, share the stories, because I've got to remind my kids when they're up there hanging kind of, and I'm right there and I'm holding them, son, it looks like I'm going to fall, but I've done this before. So when you have people share stories of the past and how this is what God's done, and this, it paints a beautiful picture, and you're able to keep continuing to instill that vision that you're instilling. So that's how I really create culture around vision, sharing, and participation in it.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good. Well, Northwest Youth, we always want to create space to start a conversation with you on the topic. And so if you want to continue the conversation with Pastor Matt, he creates a whole space in his schedule to connect with you. And so you're going to be able to see his IG handle here on the bottom. You can shoot him a DM and connect and jump into conversation to continue vision casting, because he'll also be honest with the places where vision's gone sideways.
Oh yeah, lots of that.
Yeah.
So let's meet up and have coffee.
That's
I
so
always
good.
love that. So yeah.
Thanks for jumping on with us, Matt.
100%. Thanks for having me.